Episode 36, Stevie. Back for another one.
Back for another week.
How's your week been, man?
Busy.
Busy?
Wet and then muggy.
It's been raining.
All over
you see
the place.
The storms the other night?
Yeah. I was scared to go out the front. It was
It's a wild
non-stop.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's been sweeping the nation. You've come at a bad time, Lindsay.
I know, I've heard.
Yeah.
There's a nice cyclone off the coast, I
Yeah.
guess.
So we'll introduce you. So our guest today is Lindsay Agnew. She is from the NWSL and the Canadian national team, and just recently signed with Sydney FC. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
How are you finding Australia so far?
Oh, I'm loving it. Yeah, it's been great. Except for the rain. That was a bit of a downer, but everything else has been great.
Because prior to that, it was like 40-degree days every day.
And all the fires.
And then all the fires. It was pretty...
Were you here then?
I came right when the fires kind of ended, and there was like that period of couple weeks where it was beautiful. I was there for that, then the rain came. So I did get a couple weeks of
so you
beauty.
got a mixture.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to rain anymore, though. Or is it?
No.
I don't know. That storm seems like it swept away.
Yeah, probably good for the fires, though. So.
Yeah. But the good thing is the Aussie summer kind of goes till about March, April.
Yes.
So
Perfect.
you get some beach in before the end of the season.
Get my tan on.
Yeah. So let's just start with how you started in football. So what age did you start playing, and what age did you take it seriously?
I think I played my first season when I was like 3 or 4, maybe 3 turning 4, so I was really young.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mom and dad just put me, I come from a big sports family. So my dad is actually a hockey coach and ice hockey coach, and my brother played ice hockey, and my mom was an athlete too, so sort of just threw me in different sports, and I played a lot of different sports growing up, but soccer was kind of always my favorite. So yeah, I think from a very young age I was like, I want to be a pro soccer player.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in my, I think you guys say year 5 yearbook, we have to put like, what's your dream, what do you want to do, and I put that I wanted to be a pro soccer player. So it's definitely been, I was the lifer, one that dreams since I was a little kid. So yeah, it's been dream come true kind of.
So really stuck to your plan.
Yes.
From a very young age.
Yes, I knew what I wanted from a young age, I guess.
That's pretty cool. So when did you actually start playing like seriously at competitive levels?
Yeah, like it's a good question. Probably maybe more like around like year 6, I guess, was probably when I got in my more serious team. But I played travel, like we call it travel soccer.
Yeah.
I played that honestly once I was in grade 1, but grade 6 I would say is more when things started, become more serious, and you kind of have to decide between sports and start picking sports, and that's kind of when.
Yeah, because you were born in Canada, but you moved to the US?
Yep. So because my dad's a hockey coach, we, same as the soccer life, you kind of move around a lot. But yeah, so I lived in a couple different places, or 2 different places in Canada, then moved it to the US, lived a couple different places there. So kind of been bouncing around, but.
Yeah. And so when you you played in high school, and obviously did you go to college?
Yes. Yep. So I went to Ohio State University in the States. It's actually pretty typical for Canadian, the top Canadian players to go play university in the States, because we don't have scholarships at university in Canada for sports, so you can get that when you go to the States. But yep, went to Ohio State, so go Buckeyes, if there's any Buckeye fans out there.
And how was the college scene for you?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it was awesome. My school had 60,000 people, so it's kind of like its own, city. Yeah, and the American football program, there's not, like, it is a religion there.
It's a big school.
Yes. Oh yeah, they're good. They actually won the national championship, which is like the best you can win. One of the years I was there, so
it would have been crazy.
Yeah, the school was insane. But yeah, it was really cool. Just cool to be part of something kind of bigger than yourself, and really fun to have different sports teams as well, and different sports teams supporting each other. So it's just a cool environment altogether to be a part of, and also get your education as well.
Yep, and then you got drafted into the NWSL?
Yep, so they do like a college draft, and I was drafted to the Washington Spirit my first year, and I was so excited.
How was the drafting experience for you?
So I got contacted by a couple of teams prior to the draft, but it's kind of one of those things. There's only 40 girls that got drafted at the time. There was only 20 girls on every team. So you just never know, really, if that's, you know, if you're going to get in, even if you're one of the top players, you just don't know. But my other friend, she's actually my best friend, Nichelle Prince. She plays on the Canadian national team with me. We've been friends for a long time, but we lived together in college, and we were all, like, watching the draft together, like, hoping to hear both our names called. And so I kind of knew there was interest, but I didn't know from who. And, and then I just heard my name called, so it was completely kind of unexpected.
Who got drafted first, you or your friend?
I did actually. But she was soon after, so it was nice.
Were you expecting to be drafted? Like, were you fairly confident that you were going to get drafted?
I didn't know. Like, like I said, I wasn't sure because it's just, you hope so. But I guess there was teams that expressed interest, so I knew there was interest out there. I just didn't know if at the end of the day, once all the draft order goes according to plan, whether I'm going to get drafted or not. But I ended up going in the second round, so I didn't have to wait as long as I thought maybe I was going to have to wait either. So it was good.
Can teams opt not to draft anyone in?
They can trade away their draft picks, but most teams have at least one. So it's supposed to be like all, at the time I was in the draft, it was 10 teams. So all 10 teams get one draft pick each round. But then because of all the trades and different things that happen, some teams end up getting more, some teams end up getting less.
Yeah.
But,
So what was the excitement level when you heard your name?
Oh, I was so excited, I screamed, we got up, we hugged. It was very exciting, and then my phone just got flooded with, texts and calls and different things. So it's definitely a moment I'll never forget. It was just that kind of that moment where it's like, oh my God, I'm going to be a professional soccer player. Like, it happens,
Yeah.
Were there clubs about to pick and you go, don't pick me?
That's what you're gonna ask.
Don't pick me.
No, I was like, every club, I'm like, please pick me. I don't care. I'll make it work. But actually.
Is there some clubs that players don't want to get drafted to? You don't have to name them. But
No, I definitely think that in the past, at least, there's definitely been clubs that are looked upon as better, and there's been girls who have opted out of the draft or because of pick selection. Sorry, I hit the mic. So definitely there's that, but I think that the NWSL is really working to make it a better league overall where all the teams are similar and giving similar quality and, accommodations and all that stuff. So I think they're hoping that it's more of a standard thing rather than one team so much better than the other offers more than the other. So
I think that's when you have the kind of salary cap and
yes,
it makes it a lot more even, I suppose.
Yes, yeah.
For what you get. So you got drafted. How was your first season at Houston? Oh, it was Washington. Sorry.
Yeah, Spirit. Yep. It was good. It was a good learning experience for me. I played actually forward there because that's what I played in university. I played forward, but I played forward, and I think just more learning to be a pro and kind of all the ins and outs of how the league works and different things. So I don't think I maybe got as many opportunities as I would have liked that year, but I think I did learn a lot, and I improved a lot in my game just by, training at that quality and at that speed of play all the time. And it was just a cool experience to get to play against the likes of, Marta and, those types of players that I had looked up to when I was a kid, Yeah.
What was the training like in the WNSL compared to college?
Just the speed of play and the quality is just so condensed, whereas in college I would say it's more saturated. So there's obviously really good players in every team, but in the NWSL it's always the stars kind of from the university teams that make it, because again there's only a certain amount of girls from that move on to the next thing. So I think just the speed of play mainly I would say is probably the top thing, and that qualities that maybe made you good back then maybe won't help you as much in the next round. You have to kind of make your game altogether better. And just even the technical side, girls can ping passes, find exactly what they want, put the ball exactly where they want in the back of the net. Whereas, college maybe you could get away with not having.
Misplacing
Yes,
some passes.
yeah. Hoping for the best sometimes, yeah.
Did it take you time to find your feet at that level? So going from the college level to the professional level?
Yeah, I remember my first practice, I was like, whoa, this is a lot. But, so I think, definitely. But because I had some youth national team experience as well, too, I kind of knew this certain, I'd watched a lot and kind of seen what it would be like. So I was sort of expecting it, but definitely took me a second to get adjusted.
Who were the big players at Washington when you first got there?
So from the Canadian side, there was Steph Lebe. She's a goalkeeper, and Shalina Zadorsky.
Yeah.
She actually played in the W League.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she trained in here.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
She played for Perth, I believe, and so they were the two big. And then Mallory Pugh came onto our team. She was our U.S. national team player. But there was just a lot of like Christy Mewis and some older girls that had a lot of experience that were just really strong players and veteran players that had a lot of status.
Were there any that you were like in awe of? Like, I've seen this player, I've looked up to them, now I'm having to play with them?
Yeah, well, definitely. Like, I mean, most of the players, I was like, wow, like, they're so good. But I think one of the biggest players for me, like, that was Christine Sinclair. Like, she is a Canadian legend, and all of us were obsessed with her growing up. So I think my first national camp was around that time. And when I was playing with her, I was just like, wow, this is so cool. Like, I remember one time she hit this, like, half volley from so far out in training, and I was just like, oh my god. I was like, wow, yeah. Like, scored against my team, but I'm like, that was nice, high five. And I was like, oh, you gotta focus, you gotta be cooler than that.
Chill.
Yeah, chill. Play it cool. But yeah.
So what was your debut? What was the first game you played?
That was against the Orlando Pride in Orlando. It was their opening game. So there was I think there was 10,000 people there. And my family, my brother, my mom, and my dad actually all happened to come down to the game. And I wasn't starting, but a girl got hurt in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game. And I was her sub. So I ended up playing almost 80, or I think it was around 80 minutes in my debut. And I hit the crossbar twice.
Oh,
and I was so sad. Yeah. But it was just, honestly, it was such a cool experience because especially to have my family there and they hadn't been, this the first time they've seen me play. And I kind of told them prior to the game, I don't know if I'm actually going to get in. But then I ended up playing almost 80 minutes. So, yeah. It was really
Did you feel a lot of pressure?
I did. I remember feeling a ton of nerves, standing on the sideline. And, yeah, you just, of course, you want to show that you're deserve to be there and you can stay at the level, but at the same time you're looking, you're like, all right, there's Marta. Here she is. It was Marta, I think, not debut, but it was maybe her first game for Orlando as well. So I was like, oh, we shared a debut, Marta. But yeah, I definitely felt the butterflies, but I think it's one of those things that when you get on the field, it's just soccer, and I was able to kind of just hone in on the field and just play my game. So you kind of forget about all the people in the stands and what you're doing once the ball's at your feet.
Do you find it was a lot harder? Like, if you made a mistake, did you put it on yourself a lot more, or do you kind of just let it go and just continue playing?
Yeah, I think I definitely am hard on myself as a player in general. And again, the pressure to you're the rookie, you don't want to mess up, but kind of have to have a short memory in soccer, and I was told that from a really long time, that you're only as good as your last play. So sort of, if you lose the ball, you got to just go and win it back as fast as you can. And I guess I just always try to keep that in the back of my mind. But 100% you have that pressure on you, and again, some of the maybe little silly tricks or laziness or not taking looks over your shoulder or passing to the person's wrong foot or whatever, that is exposed at the pro level more so than maybe growing up. Yeah.
So how was your first season at Washington?
We ended up finishing dead last, so it was not so good.
Was that because of you?
No, yeah, possibly. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was good. It was honestly, it was a good experience overall. So.
What was the team morale finishing kind of dead last, the pressure, the coaching?
Yeah, it was tough. It was kind of one of those things where there was a big turnover of the team. So we kind of went from, I think Crystal Dunn was on the team before I got there, and Allie Krieger, and some of those higher profile U.S. players, and then a lot of kind of a new wave came in. But that's kind of pretty consistent. I don't know as much with the W League, but in the NWSL, there's big turnover each year. So I think just kind of, you never know what you're going to get sort of thing. But definitely people were down when we were dead last. Never a good place to be in, but we had a good group of girls, though. It was nothing, no tension between the girls or anything.
Yeah, but in that same year, you also made your debut for the full Canadian national team. How was that?
Oh, it was unbelievable. So, yeah, it was probably the best month of my life because I got drafted and I got called into my first full national team camp. But yeah, my debut was in Portugal and the Algarve Cup against Portugal, actually. And yeah, it was just, I've wanted to represent my country at that level for forever. And so again, it's just such a dream come true, to be able to do that.
Were you shocked when you got the call up, like just being drafted in as a pro?
Yeah,
Or,
well...
So yeah, Canada doesn't have too many good players. I'm pretty sure I can cruise in.
No, I'm just kidding. I was shocked because, so I would kind of grew up through the system. I went to the U17 World Cup, went to the U20 World Cup, and then there's kind of, for us, I don't think Australia does either, but US has like a U23 program, so I feel like there's kind of a buffer. Mm-hmm. But whereas in Canada we don't have that, so it's a big jump from U20 to the full team. Mm-hmm. And I had a big year at university. I had scored a lot of goals, and I had gotten a lot of recognition from the NCAA. I guess in general, that's the college. Yeah. So I had hoped that I would get a call in, and it was the year after the Olympics, so it was kind of like they were starting to look at that next wave of players. So I definitely hoped, but I was not by no means expecting the call. But actually, again, my roommate at the time, she had gone to the Olympics with the team. So I had kind of known that they were looking at more players, and so when I got the call, I was just elated, but I would definitely not say I was expecting it.
Yeah.
I got the call kind of late at night, and I called my family. It was like 1 a.m., and I was like, guys, guess what? Wake up.
How were they when they heard?
Oh, they were just beside themselves. Yeah, they just know how much I wanted it, and kind of like, prior to that last year university, I told them I needed to have a big year to get not only noticed for the pro team, but to try to, get to the national team. And they just were like so, I guess, proud of me that like I'd kind of done the steps I needed to take. And had gotten to at least the first step of that goal was to, you just got to get a chance, got to get your look. And sometimes that's the hardest part, to just get in the door.
Yeah, so your first season finishes. You've had a good season by all accounts, personally.
Yep.
Then the following season you go to Houston. So how did that come about?
Yep. So I ended up getting traded in the off season to Houston. Just again, I don't think it's as common in other leagues, but we get trades and there's different things. So my coach called me in like the winter time and just told me that I was going to get traded to Houston, and that friend that I keep talking about, she actually played on Houston, so I was like, all right, cool, I'm getting reunited. We've been playing together since we were 16, so why not? And I was actually I got recruited, I don't know how to word it, but drawn there to play outside back, which is what I'd been playing with the national team. And so I actually thought it was a good move as well in that regard, because I'd wanted to move up in my spot with the national team, and they had been kind of looking at me as a fullback, and I was playing winger with Washington, so I didn't think I was excited, and Texas was I was a little nervous to go to Texas, I'm not going to lie to you, but just because, I don't know if you guys, just Southern sounds so different from, what I had grown up with, but it ended up being a good experience too, and I went there with a whole new coach, whole new team, so that's obviously intimidating, but it was good.
What did you have any idea that you're going to get traded, or it's just like do they call you say, look, you might get traded, or is it just, hey, you're going?
I did, well, I think it kind of is like that for some people. My situation was, the coach and I kind of had a discussion about where I was, where I wanted to be, kind of thing, and so I kind of knew that there was a possibility, but for a lot of people it just happens, and they just say pack your bags. So that's why you gotta not bring too much stuff with you. Just be able to pack up your stuff. Don't get too crazy with the decorations. So
And then how was it entering that squad? How were Houston, at that time?
So it was similar. They weren't top of the table, but kind of in a building phase, I would say as well. But definitely a really Professional club. They're paired with the men's team, the MLS men's team.
Yep.
So just a lot more staff, beautiful facilities. It was, when I walked into it, it was I really felt treated totally like a professional, and they took care of me, and I got to live in an apartment with my friend, so I felt it was a really good welcoming experience, and the girls were all super nice, and again, just to play with different players and get to meet different players that again I'd heard of before or seen was just a cool experience. So.
Yeah, but how did that season pan out for you?
So we ended up being just shy of playoffs. So it was a pretty decent season. I got in more and got to play more, and I sort of established myself more as an outside back, I would say, that year. So it was good. It was unfortunate again to miss playoffs, but we had a lot of ups and downs, kind of maybe lost points when we shouldn't have and different things. But yeah, after that season again, I got a new coach again. So it ended up, even though I stayed in Houston the following year, it was another new coach. So I've had a lot of new coaches, three different coaches all 3 years. So
yeah, and then the following season you went to the World Cup.
Yes,
How was that?
did. It was awesome. I mean, I'll be honest on this podcast, I was very stressed leading up to it because it's a big pool and only 23 players get selected, and it's just a battle, and you never really know. Like, they always kind of keep you in I don't really know where I stand because they want to push you. But yeah, when I finally made that World Cup team, there was definitely a lot of happy tears out of that, and just an unbelievable experience. Like, wow, I feel really lucky to have been a part of that, and France did an unbelievable job hosting the tournament, and having sellout crowds and stuff. So it was really incredible.
Did you feel like more of a professional athlete being in a World Cup environment?
Oh yeah, for sure. That was like everything that you would want was there. It was cool the way they did it. Like, we played in a bunch of different cities in France. We kind of made our way. Actually, ended up starting in the south, kind of making our way up to Paris. But yeah, we got to play at Parc des Princes, where PSG plays, and in front of 44,000 people or something crazy like that. And I just get kind of chills thinking about it, kind of. So and we had the Dutch in our group. Netherlands was in our group, and they brought like 20,000 fans to every game and would parade in the streets the day before the game. So we'd be trying to take our pregame nap, like getting ready for the game, and all of a sudden we hear the Dutch people clapping, shouting, singing. But they were honestly awesome. They we actually lost to the Dutch, but they played the Canadian national anthem on their instruments. They were just there having a good time, drinking, having a time. So my family actually came to the World Cup, and I was like, Brett, my brother, I was like, you better not change cheering for Canada for the Netherlands, because he's out there with them partying. So but it was an incredible experience. Obviously it didn't go the way we wanted. Kind of had high expectations going into it, and I think we could have finished better, but it sucks sometimes, but it is 6 games at the end of the day, and it's whoever's playing best in those 6 games. So unfortunately it didn't go our way, but still just always a memory of a lifetime for sure.
What was your favorite moment of the World Cup, personally?
Yeah, that's tough. I would say probably, like, this is kind of a weird moment to say, but I'll say this one. So when we went to Montpellier, you get to go to the field the day before and get to walk around the field and kind of check it out. Yeah. And they call it, I can't remember what they call it, like a locker room tour. You kind of see the locker room, where you're going to walk out, where you see media and all that. But I think just prior to the World Cup, you're in camp for so long. Like, we were in a camp, I think, a month prior. So you're just kind of grinding every day, like getting, physically fit, all that stuff. And it kind of doesn't feel like you're going to be in a World Cup yet until that moment when I just remember the moment when I stepped onto, like, the field at Montpellier, and they had all the, like, FIFA, signage, and, you saw this big empty stadium. But I remember, like, walking out to the field and just, like, looking up and being like, oh my God, like, I'm in this World Cup that I've watched, every 4 years for as long as I can remember, and I'm here, like, I'm one of these girls. And after we left there was, like, all these little girls, like, wanting to sign our stuff, and I just saw, like, myself, I guess, in, like, some of those little girls' faces, you know what I mean? So that was a cool moment. I think also just after the first game, looking and seeing all my family there also was definitely a choke up moment where you're like, wow, like, I'm here, and we got the first win, so it was cool.
Did you feel a real sense of accomplishment?
Yeah, I think as soccer players, we maybe don't do that as much as we should, because you're, like, never satisfied. You always want more, you know what I mean? So I think I get drawn into that sometimes, where I'm like, oh, I got this, but now I want that. And you keep kind of going, which is probably what makes us, elite in that way, but also maybe mentally unhealthy. But, for sure. I definitely had that moment where I was like, I did it. I made it here, and I feel now like I have that stepping stone where I can kind of keep going and, work on getting my minutes and, doing other things. But, of course, you always want more.
Yeah. So your season finished last year. What were you doing? Training after the season?
Yep.
And then you got the phone call to come to Australia.
Yes.
How did that all pan out for you?
Well, it was kind of crazy, honestly. So I was at season finished. I had a national camp in China in November, and got back. Was kind of just doing my own training routine. Didn't totally know what I was going to do with NWSL after. And Veronica Latsko and Sofia Huerta played with me in Dash, and they were in Sydney and always were like saying how fun it was and how great it was and how strong the team was. And I knew they had won the year before, and I was kind of looking at overseas, maybe trying to see a new opportunity. And then they mentioned that some of the players might be leaving, and I should reach out and whatever. And so then, Ante ended up giving me or sending me an email and just, expressing his interest. And I was like, wow, this would be a cool opportunity if this worked out. And there was kind of some back and forth. And then it sort of, by the time that it said that it was probably going to happen to the time I was on the flight, I think was maybe a week and a half. So it was a pretty quick turnaround. But, I was really, honestly, I was so happy when it all worked out. But,
And how are you finding the league so far? You played your first game?
Yep. It's been good. Yeah, I kind of had a little mini preseason, I would say, because there was that sort of 3 or 4 week period. Came to first phase, got my good touches in and stuff, but got to sort of get back into 11v11 mode, because when you're at home, you're not really in that mode, I guess, as much. But then, I got to get that little preseason and get the first game. So all the girls have been super welcoming. The club's been very professional about everything and great. So, and then we got our first win. It was the Derby, kind of a cool game to come into, the Derby game. There was a lot of people there. It was cool. So got the nice 3-0 win, and good way to start. And now we have another game Saturday, so I'm looking forward to it.
How'd you find the difference between the NWSL and the W League?
It's definitely different, but I think what's really cool about this league is the growth of the young players. There's a lot of really young, talented players that are getting to play at a professional level and kind of learning what it is to be a pro at 18, 19 years old. Whereas, most of the time, or in NWSL at least, you have to wait till you're 22 almost to get that opportunity. So I think that's really unique and cool about the W League specifically. And I think it's cool that they pay. Or at least Sydney is paired with the A-League team. I think that's really cool to just see that. You really get that club feel, that family feel almost with being with Sydney FC. It's all the developmental programs all through and everything. You kind of get that group feel, I guess.
Yeah. Steve,
you're in enemy territory out this way.
Oh, true.
The Wild West.
Right, I forgot.
So how big is the national team? Obviously, you've grown up. Canada's been a powerhouse in women's football for so long. How well supported is it in Canada? Are you recognised on the streets, those kind of things?
I wouldn't say I'm recognized on the street, but definitely our more famous players Christine Sinclair and Sophie Schmidt, people who have more, I guess, of status or been on for a longer time. But I think there's still a lot of growth that can be done in Canada. I think that we don't have a pro league specifically, and
what is the level for girls in Canada that don't play in the NWSL?
They just have to go abroad. So there's kind of a summer league that I would say is more like a semi-pro league, but so kind of after they're done high school, most girls will go play, if they're at that top level, try to play in the States for university, and it's kind of a next step. Or some girls will go straight to try to go to a Europe team, so there's Quebec as a French-speaking province, and a lot of girls have French influence, so they can maybe go and not be an international someplace. So but it's pretty tough, and that's why I think they're hoping in the future to either add a team to the NWSL or maybe grow a league in Canada itself.
Because the MLS has a team in Canada.
Yes, so Toronto has a team, and they just actually introduced a men's professional league for Canada. So I think they're seeing how that's going, and but that's definitely the hope for us is that I think that will be the next step. In the development for Canada soccer.
Would that be who you play for?
What?
Would you go play for?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely.
Canadian team.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you grow up predominantly through the US system or the Canadian system?
I guess my more elite soccer was in the American like club system,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, it was with the national program, the Canadian national program throughout. So I guess sort of a mix.
Yeah. So how would that work then with your development being Canadian and not being American? So like say here in Australia, the progression is from like elite local teams to youth national teams and things like that. A, how do you get identified there? But B, how does that hamper your progress in America if you're not American?
Yep. So Canadian is actually a lot of changes have been made since I was growing up, but there used to be a program called the NTC program. It's called the National Training Center, and they were kind of identified in each province where girls would go and get called into the NTC and kind of train like a team in that regard, and they would have direct contact with the national team. But that's since changed, and there's now a program called REX, and there's a couple different systems that are going on, but in the U.S., the club system's really big. So you kind of there's sort of elite clubs in each state, and I would say like some of the better girls kind of condense into the best clubs.
Don't they have like an Olympic development program as well?
There is something called ODP. I don't think probably not the best person to ask about that, but I don't think it's as prominent. I think there's a league called the ECNL. It's called the Elite Clubs National League, and it's a group of I don't know how many clubs are in it, but they all play against each other in different like recruiting.
Are they
things.
like Houston Dash Juniors? Do they have juniors or just the first team?
There is another league that's called there's so many different leagues. I think they're all competing against each other kind of. It's called the Development Academy, I think, and they are under like the Houston Dash would have a Development Academy.
Yeah.
But
What
I guess
ages are they? Do you know?
they go all the way to high school. Yeah, so like 18 or 19. But I think you can only get into the DA program when you turn maybe like 15 is the first year that it's like that. But the ECNL, which is what I did, was kind of like the same thing. You can only play in the ECNL once you get to 16, and then you kind of go and do these different tournaments in different places, and they're like identification things. So people from the national team, which I wasn't as concerned about because it was Canadian, but more like the university recruiting would all be there, like kind of sitting along the sidelines, like with their notepads and everything. But yeah, my experience was a little different because I was Canadian. I actually had to email the national team coach because I was kind of out of sight, out of mind because I was in the States.
Yeah, that's what was going to be my next question. How do you stay within the framework?
Yeah, so I ended up emailing the U17 coach at the time, and kind of kept at it. My mother was like, just keep trying. I'm like, okay. And actually what ended up happening was his brother was a university coach in the States, and that university was recruiting me. And he ended up putting in the good word, and that's how I got into my first U17 camp. So it's kind of a funny little story, but yeah.
Are you eligible to play for USA?
I'm not. So I guess I don't think so, but I got my U.S. citizenship through my dad through a working visa and then permanent residency, and then I got my dual citizenship 3 years ago, I think. But I've already capped with the Canadian team, so that's one reason. And then also wouldn't want to play for them. I'm a big big Canada fan, but I think there's also like extra rules that since I'm full-blown Canadian, no American. I don't know. There's a lot of rules FIFA has. But.
So I know here, what is it, 4 years or something? If you live here for 4 years, then you can become a citizen? Is that
Yes. My friend was telling me that and how they were maybe going to try to do it. But yeah, so there is certain rules, but I'm not with the FIFA. It's like if you were, I'm not sure. I would have to look it up more, but. Yeah.
So obviously now it's pre-season for NWSL. So how does that set with your mindset? Obviously here you've got a job to do with Sydney, but then in the back of your mind, you need to go report shortly and do all that. Where does that all sit with everything?
Yeah, I think it's just finding that balance between, getting your extra work in and also just making sure you're not overworking your body and making sure you're fresh for your games here, because obviously this is your main focus as of now. But I think just making sure you're fit and getting your technical work in, your skillful stuff in to make sure that you're ready for that that next season and that next. It's the NWSL has a lot of fitness requirements and like strength requirements and stuff. So you want to make sure that you're ready for that, and also though you don't want to be injury prone.
So Canada's qualified for the Olympics. So where are you at with everything with the national team?
Yeah, so I was with, I actually didn't get called into the qualification. The roster goes down, so it went down to 20 for that qualification, and I did not, unfortunately, was not a part of that. But they reselect teams every, throughout till the Olympics. So, I'm still definitely in the mix, and I've talked to my national team coach a few times now since then, kind of what I need to do and what I got to do to get back on the team. But it's definitely, it's going to be hard. There's an 18-man roster, but it's definitely a dream of mine, so I'm going to do everything I can to try to get on it.
Yeah, nice.
Is it being in the W League boosting that opportunity?
Yeah, for sure. Like he always says, anytime you're playing games, that's what he wants to see, and yeah, so I talked to him about this, and he thinks it's a great opportunity, good like daily training environment, and make sure that I'm, staying sharp and be ready if, called in. So, I'm hoping that also just to be able to, gain some confidence and, try different things and, get some game minutes in. So hopefully that'll benefit me in the long run here.
Yeah. How come you haven't played in the off season anywhere else in the past?
Well, so just with the national team, it's just hard to come to Australia just because we have camps so consistently that to get called in to come, it's a long flight.
I don't think there's been many Canadians here before, has there?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Shalina might be one of the only ones.
Yeah.
But and it's sort of interesting because it's kind of like who sort of to get you in the front door, because I think a lot of people would like to come to Australia and play during the summer. Yeah, exactly. Why not? Yeah. But yeah, I guess that was on the back of my mind. I always knew it was a cool opportunity because again, a lot of NWSL players end up doing it in the back half of their season. But my first year sort of a little overwhelmed with like everything, and then after my second year, I was doing all these camps with the national team and qualifying for the World Cup and all that. So kind of just worked out this year for me to be able to come.
Do you have ambitions of playing in Europe, or you kind of want to play in the US?
For sure. I'm definitely open to playing in Europe. I was looking into Europe actually before I came here, possibly to go Western Europe or even Scandinavia. I'm open to try everywhere. I think every league offers you a new opportunity and shows you kind of a different aspect of the game and add something new to your toolbox, I guess. So, I'm definitely interested.
Where would you want to play, ideally? Dream club?
Dream club. Oh.
Because a lot of the Canadians play in Europe.
Yes,
for Lyon, PSG.
I would. Well, I loved PSG since I was young, and I like their men's team as well. So probably PSG would maybe be my dream club. Yeah. But yeah, I have a couple friends who play there actually. Yeah. So.
Are you a football fan? Do you watch it in your
I
downtime?
do like it. Yeah. I'm probably not as well educated as I should be, but I definitely like watching it. I like PSG. I like Man City. What are you guys? Oh gosh.
I'm Liverpool.
I'm Arsenal.
Oh, okay, all right. We have some problems here then. My teammate in Houston, her name's Rachel Daly. She's obsessed with Leeds, so she always is watching. Yeah.
They played out here not long ago.
Oh, did
we
they?
went to that game.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. For the first game at Wanderers Stadium.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was an opening
cool.
game.
Do they play against an A-League team?
Yeah, they played at Wanderers. Yeah.
Oh, against one. Okay.
They opened the stadium with that game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But Leeds are struggling to get back in the Premier League.
I thought they were second.
No, they've dropped off.
Again.
They're in the promotion spots.
Yeah.
Playoff.
Yeah.
So they dropped out into the playoff spots.
Yeah.
For their third season in a row. It's question time, Stevie.
I don't know how many of them I ask, but
some highly inappropriate questions that people shouldn't ask.
But would you be open to selling a pair of your boots?
I mean, how much are we talking here? Sure.
Where are we? How do I find it?
What's your favorite position? Do you like being a fullback or a forward?
I like both. I like fullback and winger. I like being out wide. I think there's a lot more glory in the forward position. At winger. You get to score the goals and kind of take people on more 1v1, which I like that. But I definitely like the group mentality of playing a defender, and I'm physical, so I like to get into the.
Well, you see more of the ball being a fullback. Or
Yeah,
a winger.
exactly. And you get it, and you get to kind of get to see everything, which I like. But forward, definitely more glory.
All right. Any advice for younger girls who want to be good at football?
My advice would be, one, to work hard and to do all that stuff. But I think also my biggest thing to young girls is always to just believe in yourself. And if you have a dream and you want it, then don't let someone tell you that you can't do it. Because I think there's a lot of people along the way that'll sort of tell you can't get there. And for me personally, I had a lot of coaches tell me that I wouldn't be where I am today. And if I would have listened to them, then I wouldn't be on this podcast talking to you guys. So if you definitely can't just wait for it to happen, but if you want it bad enough and you're willing to sacrifice and do the work, then don't give up.
On that, was there anything you wish you were told as a youngster, like coming through that you got the professional game now and you think, I just wish somebody would have prepared me for that or would have told me that?
I mean, I think for sure just that people will try to bring you down, but to keep going. But I think also just to be aware of, like, all the tactical, some of the tactics and kind of how to be a pro. I think there's certain things you got to do to your body to make sure that you're ready, like eating the right things and, rolling out your body, stretching, all that stuff. But, yeah, I think the main thing would be, just to keep going, and that it's not going to be all butterflies and rainbows even at the top, that it's it's always a grind.
What is your favorite fan moment / memory
ever?
Ooh.
Probably the, making the World Cup team. That would be my number one.
Why number 8? I don't even know what that means.
That's what I'm wearing in Sydney.
Yeah.
To be fair, that was just given to me.
You have a choice.
But I do actually like the number 8. My dad actually wore 8 when he was a hockey player. So when they told me I was going to be 8, I was pretty excited about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your dad a professional coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's coached the NHL, which is the...
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's coached 3 different teams in the NHL, but he's coaching in the AHL, which is the league right below it now.
Yeah. What was that like growing up with a dad that was, like, is it high profile, I'd imagine?
He's not, I wouldn't say he's high profile, but just definitely it was awesome to be around him and in the professional, obviously it's a different sport.
So you're like in the change rooms, like running around that little
Maybe,
kid?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just being, having him to like get advice of and how to deal with
the problems.
Things that come up or coaches or whatever. That it's just been, I feel invaluable to me in my career.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Did you play hockey growing up?
I skated, but I never actually played hockey. My older brother played hockey, and by the time I came around, I was kind of independent. I was like, I'm going to do my own thing. And so.
I don't even really want to say this one, but this one's coming to the A-League Derby on Friday week. The Cove has a spare seat for you.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to sit in the Cove. No.
I did the little dance with the Cove after the last game. So.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
When is
I'll
the
be
derby?
there.
Next Friday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's at Cogra or something. Somewhere.
We might be traveling though.
Who have you got?
Melbourne.
Yeah,
Victory.
probably will be. Some of these. What is your favorite flavor of chips?
Favorite flavor of chips? Ooh, well, I'm gonna have to go with All Dressed, which is a Canadian flavor. I don't know if you have it here.
All Dressed.
It's called All Dressed.
What does that mean?
It's like
all random flavors.
It's kind of like salt and vinegar and barbecue, and I don't know. It's great. You guys need to try it.
It's just in Canada?
Yes, Canadian only flavor.
Wow.
You gotta try it if you ever go. Bring some back.
What else have we got here? How are you such a good player was one of the questions.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Are you single was another question. Someone asking for a friend.
I am single.
How's your day been? Just some random question. I think that's it. The weirdest one was, would it be possible to buy a signed pair of cleats? I don't think I've ever seen a question like that. What do you want to do with the cleats? Stay away.
Well, yeah. Maybe catch me when my cleats are getting old. I'll give it to you after the game. But you got to come to the game, I guess.
But no, I think that's it.
What would you be doing if you weren't a professional footballer?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What did you study?
I studied business. Yeah, I'm actually getting my master's in business
wow.
right now online as I'm doing this. But yeah, so I guess I'd probably be doing something in the. I like to want to do something that like gives back kind of though at the same time. So maybe something that would help underprivileged people or
cool.
the environment or something like that. But I do love soccer. So.
Do you have much thought about after your career? Like, do you start putting things in place for that? Is that why you're studying, or it's something to fill in the gaps between training and games? And
maybe a little bit of both. But no, I think for me, I just always know that the career is not going to last forever, and I just don't want to, wake up one day and it be over and we have nothing. So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to put things in place so that I'm prepared for when that day comes. So
Mhm.
without putting too much focus on the end, just making sure that I'm prepared for
Yeah,
when
yeah.
when it
That
comes.
makes sense,
Yeah.
So using your time wisely.
Yes, yeah. And
Yeah.
and as you said, as a pro soccer player, you have a lot of time after training
Mhm.
to do that kind of stuff. So
Not
yeah.
when you're in Australia, though.
Yeah, and then when you're in Australia, it's a little bit tougher. When people are like, "Want to come to the beach?" I'm like, "Yes, I would rather do that than listen to this
Every
lecture."
story from all of his every day is beach.
Yeah,
beach,
yeah,
beach,
exactly.
food, beach,
Yes.
beach, beach.
Acai bowl.
Thank you for coming on.
Of
It's been a
course.
pleasure to have you and
Yeah.
speak to you.
Thanks for having me.
Wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season and in Saturday's game.
Yes,
Mhm.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys win. Steve will be cheering you on.
Mhm.
appreciate it. Thank
Um,
you.
Yeah, that's
Thanks
it,
for
guys.
having
Till
me.
next
Thanks.
week.
Yeah, of course. Thanks.
That was good.
Good. All right.